All right, let's do this.
Do I look sexy?
Yeah, do I look sexy?
You look super sexy, man.
Good. All right, well, welcome back to another episode of the Sycamore Saints Podcast. This is a semi-emergency podcast. I know we're a couple days late, but we just witnessed one of the biggest blockbuster trades since, at least I believe, since the Anthony Davis trade a couple years ago.
The most casual emergency ever.
Yeah. And our justification is so that we can try to cover the overall story, mostly because we were too lazy to do it the day that it happened.
It's like, we need to do a podcast, but tomorrow.
And then the next day. It was 2 days ago. Victor can't be with us today because he is at work. So, it is what it is, I guess, but we're better off without him. So before we jump into the whole James Harden thing, though, I did want to acknowledge Yusuf Nurkic's injury last night. He broke his right wrist. So he is going to be out for the foreseeable future, which means that my hot take that happened literally 3 episodes ago is officially down the drain. So I officially retract my statement 4 episodes in. They're not going to be the number 1 seed. And
Spicy.
They're royally fucked from here on out because their best center is Cantor, right?
Yeah, well, let's be clear. They were royally fucked regardless. But this just makes your take all the less logical.
No, I mean, if they were a healthy team, I think they could have been the number 1 seed.
They can't play defense, but hey, it's fine. They weren't going to be the 1 seed anyway, but now at least you're back on the side of reason.
Yeah, so regardless of the reason, I'm back on the right side of things, and Lakers would be the number 1 seed in the West. But let's jump into this James Harden thing because it all really picked up steam very fast. So that last game that James Harden played with the Rockets, it was against the Lakers. I want to say he scored less than 20 points, and he did that the last 4 games that he was on the Rockets. So
Which he hadn't done in like 5, 6, 7 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's won the scoring. He's been top 5 in MVP voting for the last 7 years. I mean, that just doesn't happen. I mean, we already knew there was issues in the locker room, but that really said that, this James Harden thing is not going to be it's not fixable.
And then the interviews.
So in a press conference, his last press conference, like I said, with the Rockets, he was asked his opinion on the Rockets situation. And I don't have the exact quote, I don't believe. But essentially, he basically said the team is not good enough, the chemistry, the talent, everything. And he brought up his teammates again, which is not the first time that he brought up his teammates. And that, I think, is the one thing that would have upset me more than anything, because you can have an issue with the organization without jabbing shots at your teammates and saying that they're not talented enough. I think there's a different way to go about that. Right. And clearly John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins felt the exact same way because John Wall basically said, are you really ready to jump off the ship after 9 games? Like, you're really doing this right now? And then DeMarcus Cousins went even further. And obviously he said the disrespect started long before this last game. He said, actually, this is pretty good. He said that the real reason he came to the Rockets was to play with John Wall anyway. So he was throwing his own shots back, but so it really is golden. But at exactly 3:10 p.m., we get a massive Woj bomb. And I remember I called you right after this tweet released, like right after, like within a minute.
This is true. Before it was on, he had announced the trade, right? But he didn't announce what it was for, like what Houston was getting back or how many teams were involved. So, yeah. Yeah,
the tweet verbatim said, reporting at Ramona Shelburne, Brooklyn is acquiring Houston James Harden in a blockbuster deal, sources tell ESPN, which was all we got for a couple minutes. Everyone was just like, what? And so there was that. And then we find out the details of the trade. So I'm going to try to break this down as best I can. So the Rockets, they get, okay, let me preface this. This was a 4-team trade. And I'm still trying to learn how the 4-team trades work and, you know, several teams being involved in a deal, but I'm just going to list off what each team got in the deal. So the Rockets get Victor Oladipo from the Pacers, a couple extra players, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and 4 unprotected first-round pick swaps. The Nets get, simple enough, James Harden. The Pacers get Karis LeVert, a 2023 second-round pick from Houston, and the Cavs get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. And that, I believe, was the whole deal. But I wanted to get your opinion on, like, who won this trade. Was it the star power, or was it Houston getting all their picks back?
I'm going to be honest. I think it's Houston.
Why do you say that?
Which I know it doesn't make sense in terms of like championship quest material. Obviously, the Nets are that much closer to a title contender, and we'll talk about that and how James Harden is going to fit, I'm sure. But I think Houston, in my mind, before this trade, wasn't in a position to get what they got. It seemed like it was going to be a buyer's market, and that for them to be able to get not only the picks but also Victor Oladipo, who's a competitive. You know, I mean, he's not 2019 or what was it? Was it the 2018 season? Yeah, it's the 2018 season when he went off, when he was an all-star in the East. But he's still a competitive player that's, you know, going to be excited to buy in. That's what that team needs. And John Wall's been good. I mean, knock on wood, but he's been healthy so far in the season. Everybody's buying in besides James Harden. So if I'm the Rockets, I'm taking a deep breath of fresh air after everything that happened. I'm sure that part of my reason for thinking that Houston won is recency bias, is from how tenable that situation was. But the Nets didn't necessarily need James Harden, or did they? I don't know. I guess I can throw that to you.
So I would say the Nets didn't need James Harden, but with this whole Kyrie Irving situation, where we don't even, like, where has he been?
Right.
We don't know what the deal with that is. So I think they looked at that as almost, I forgot who said that he was an insurance policy. One of the analysts said that, but it's true. James Harden is an insurance policy, to where you at least get a guaranteed 2 superstars. But if they the issue with the Nets, I think, is that, first of all, they have not a single player that can defend. They traded their best defender in Jared Allen, and now he's gone. So the Nets are going to be fully dependent on hoping to outscore the other team every night. That's going to be their only hope of winning.
Right.
Another thing is Kevin Durant has proven that he could be unselfish, because he played on the Warriors with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, but he played with just straight out shooters. They didn't need the ball in their hand to necessarily get a rhythm and make a shot. James Harden and Kyrie Irving both need the ball in their hand to get a rhythm going. So I don't know if the Nets are going to try to pitch to James Harden to come off the bench, which I don't think that's going to happen, and James Harden's not going to be willing to do that. You have, obviously, this might be the best big three ever, but number 4 and down, I mean, like, what is there on the team? Like, how is this a championship team?
It's a shame that Spencer Dinwiddie's not healthy right now.
That would have been huge for them.
Yeah. The thing with it, I think I saw Charles Barkley when he made that comment about how first Kevin Durant went to go play with the Splash Brothers and now he's playing with the Dribble Brothers.
Exactly.
Who do you think's number 2 on the team?
I think it has to be James Harden. I mean, James Harden has proven that he can lead a team to the playoffs and make a deep run, at the very least. I mean, no matter, say what you will in Game 7s and coming down to the wire and all that stuff about his clutchness, but he's proven that if James Harden is healthy and on the roster, that team is going to be a high seed in the playoffs.
Right.
Kyrie Irving has been given several opportunities to lead a team. The Cavs before LeBron came back, the Celtics, and now the Nets. And he's not a leader, and he hasn't proven that he can really carry a team. In fact, the only thing he's proven is that the teams get better when he's not on the court. So it has to be James Harden, number 2.
I think I agree with you, but what do you think about the take that James Harden, not only has he been a scoring champion, he's also been an assist champion. I mean, he's someone that's come off the bench. He's been 6th man of the year before. He knows what it takes to contribute to other players' greatness. We haven't necessarily seen it that much in Houston with all of the ISO and the dribbling and everyone standing there, hands on their knees, waiting. but he has it in him. Kyrie has only been successful playing one style of basketball, and that's just ISO, being super crafty. His handles are like no other, and then getting to the rim like a magician. So if you look at it that way and you're talking about how am I going to make this team productive, if you make Kyrie third, then you may not be using everyone's talents as efficiently as you otherwise could. Of course, this whole conversation is not talking about the personalities and the chemistry and who's going to accept what role, but just speaking purely basketball and what would make the most sense. If James Harden was willing to be the third, and being a starter, of course, because I think in his case it would be disrespectful for him to come off the bench, but spending a lot of time with the bench minutes, and with the bench. Different lineups they can play with that. So where when KD's resting and Kyrie's resting, James Harden can do what he was doing in Houston.
That's true.
Not have to worry about giving KD the ball all the time, because if Kevin Durant isn't getting the ball in clutch moments, you're doing it wrong.
I agree. That's the main question, is the personalities. Because I apologize, I forgot who said this, but they said it's the greatest chemistry experiment in NBA history.
Right.
Because so obviously you're right. James Harden, from a skill perspective, should be the third guy because he can just throw the ball and assist it.
He can be the most helpful in the third position. I think he's better than Kyrie Irving.
Absolutely.
I think in this situation, if Kyrie's on the team and you want the most out of Kyrie, it would make more sense for Harden to have more minutes that's not with the other two.
So would you have James Harden start the game, play the first 5 minutes, and then have him sit out and then come in with the bench later? Is that how you play that?
Yeah, and I think if I'm Steve Nash, I'm thinking that the first 5-6 minutes of the game, especially with a team where you don't really have a set culture, you don't necessarily know who's going to show up. The first 5 minutes can really dictate how the rest of the game is going to go. If James Harden's hot, leave him in the game, maybe pull KD. KD's he's a smart guy. He just wants to win. He's a champion. You can play with those roles and see who's got the hot hand and roll with them. But all things being equal, it would make more sense for, the minutes where, into the third quarter when LeBron usually sits, you can throw a fully rested James Harden in the mix and go on like a 20-5 run.
I agree. And to add on to what you're saying, James Harden is the only one that hasn't won a ring yet. So he's probably going to be the one that is willing to make the most sacrifices, just to reach that goal.
He's also the newest kid on the block. So,
and, man, but I worry about this Nets team only because of Kyrie Irving.
Right.
This guy, he played 9 games and then just decided he was going to take an LOA. And
I saw Max Kellerman said this stat where if Kyrie misses the next game, I think it's tonight, if he misses this game, he'll have officially not played in more games than he has played with the Nets in his tenure.
Is that true?
Yeah, because he only played like 29 games last season.
Wow.
From an injury.
I didn't even know that.
So he's now, if he doesn't play tonight, I believe, he'll have missed more games than he's ever played with the Nets.
So I don't think he's playing tonight. I think he's still forced to be out because
of the quarantine.
Yeah, but I think he's technically allowed back on the team tomorrow night. And so I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. But I don't know if there's been any reports that have come out saying that he's fully made contact with the team yet, and saying that he wants to come back.
Yeah. Did you see whenever Steve Nash was asked if he thought Kyrie was going to come back this season, not this week, not this month, this season? And he was like, sure.
Yeah.
Like clearly he doesn't know. Clearly Kyrie's not talking to him.
Yeah. And that speaks even more to potential issues on that team, that the coach has no idea what's going on with their star players. There's no communication. Yeah,
and I think it's really important to be really careful. And I think a lot of people are being really careful. If it says personal reasons, we don't know. We see videos of a birthday party. Maybe those are old videos. Maybe there was a death in the family. Who knows what the situation may be. That alone is fine. I wouldn't criticize that. It's that he's not communicating at all with his team or his franchise. That's the real issue. That like no one seems to be knowing what's going on. He just like left and he doesn't feel a responsibility given his contract and his position on the team. to be there on the court. He's leaving. If I'm one of the, if I'm fourth, fifth, sixth man on the team, I'm thinking, what the fuck? You can't just dip.
Yeah.
Like I make a 20th of what you make, and I'm out here trying to ball every night, but you just get to take nights off, weeks off.
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm KD, I'm livid because KD has three more years in his top prime. I would say maybe even less. But he chose to team up with Kyrie Irving so that they can try to win a championship together. And Kyrie Irving just decided that he didn't want to play. And on top of that, let's say Kyrie Irving does come back and James Harden buys in and, there's no chemistry issues. What does that say about Kevin Durant's legacy? That he needed another super team to win a championship again? And that's if they even win the championship. I thought the whole reason he came to the Nets was so that he can prove that he can do it with just another all-star, which is what LeBron did last year and what a lot of guys have done.
Right.
I think if they win a championship, I mean, yes, KD will then have 3 rings, but that hurts his legacy, in my opinion, more than anything. That he needed 2 of the greatest ball handler of all time and one of the greatest scorers of all time, once again, to win a championship and beat LeBron.
Yeah, it's interesting with KD because all of his greatest runs in the NBA have been with elite shooting guards. Right. Well, I guess not shooting guards, but elite guards like Russell Westbrook in his prime. Then he went to Golden State and played with Steph and Clay. And then he went to team up with Kyrie, and now Harden's in the mix. No, at least he's all upset. So I find that interesting. And then you look at what LeBron's done. I mean, LeBron obviously, Dwayne Wade, and then went back and played with Kyrie, won a chip. But now in LA, it was a complete change of style. Him teaming up with AD, a big man. For LeBron to then take on the role of the smaller of the 2 leading stars on a team is at least interesting. It is, if anything, it enhances legacy because it shows an ability to adapt and play in different systems. But yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't know. I mean, if you want a championship, you want a championship. So that's going to help KD's legacy more than it would if they fizzle out in the second round. But Lacey, can you not, please?
And I want to bring it back to Kyrie for a second. I think it was pretty much right after the attacks at the Capitol when Kyrie Irving just decided to disappear. Mm-hmm. And then he appeared on a Zoom call, activating for social justice and all that, which is totally you can totally commend him for that. But obviously everyone was hurt about what happened at the Capitol that day, but everybody had to go to work the next day and swallow all their emotions and be there.
Exactly right. And it's even the thing, you'll see people online saying well, it was his sister's birthday. Don't criticize the man for going to his sister's birthday. And it's you know how many birthdays people have missed this year?
Exactly.
It's just ridiculous. The double standard that people give to justify his silly actions it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. And Kyrie Irving is legitimately trying to just play basketball from home. He loves getting his paychecks, but he's not wanting to go on the court. And that's one thing I respect about KD is that KD would be out there balling for free. He would play basketball anywhere that he can just because he loves the sport. And I think it shows a lot that I don't think Kyrie loves the sport. I think he's very good at it, obviously.
Well, he's an artist, Jacob. Don't forget.
Oh, man, you're right. I forgot. He's an artist, and we're just pawns watching.
Right.
Him.
Correct.
You're right.
I think, if you look even back to why Kyrie and KD linked up, and the same things can be said about LeBron, is they're interested in multiple things. They're doing things off the court constantly. They're not just zero. They don't have their blinders on just for basketball all the time. That being said. What you can't say about Kyrie, but you can say about LeBron and KD is that they're there every day. They're, first one in, last one out. They're training, they're playing. If they're available and they're healthy, they're playing. Look what KD did in the finals in 2019. I mean, he was just coming off of, I think it was a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
Or was it a sprained ankle or was it a calf injury? It was something like that.
Something in his leg. Yeah.
Yeah. And
brought
he
him down.
probably shouldn't have come back, and he came back and tore his Achilles because he wanted to win, the competitor spirit. So I think KD and linking up with Kyrie, they're both like, yeah, man, like we're going to go to Brooklyn, like we're going to be involved in all these things, we'll build our own culture. And KD's like, bet, like that's what I've been doing. And Kyrie was like, oh, but like I was going to like do more of that stuff.
It's like, yeah, exactly. This man does not know how to multitask. You can do multiple things at once. You can wake up early in the day, hop on your Zoom calls, do whatever you need to do,
Right.
and then go to practice at 2 p.m. and then play your game. You can do it all. I don't know why Kyrie thinks that he can only do one or the other.
Well, he also thinks that all he has to do is perform on the court, which he's not even doing right this second for whatever reason. But he thinks that that's all that matters, like just the art between the lines. But it's like, dude, that's not. You've got to be an asset in the locker room. You've got to be an ambassador for your franchise to the media. There's so many things that go into it that all the other professionals in the league seem to understand. He, for whatever reason, doesn't see the purpose.
Mm-hmm. And this would be something that you'd think that he would want to, a reason as to why he'd want to perform better, but people are going to be listening to you a lot more. Your voice is going to be a lot louder if you're performing well on the court, if you're winning games. Look at LeBron. Everyone listens to what LeBron says. And it's mostly because he works so hard to stay relevant and stay the best player in the world on the best team in the world. People are going to be listening to him speak out about his issues way more than if LeBron was on, I don't know, whatever losing team there is right now, if he's losing games.
Right.
And I honestly don't see why Kyrie doesn't understand that. And I wanted to ask you, Stephen A. Smith came out pretty much, I think it was right before the James Harden deal, but he was talking about Kyrie Irving, and he said that he thought Kyrie should retire.
Right.
What were your thoughts on that? Because I wanted to hear your opinion on that.
Well, I mean, it's Stephen A. It's a hot take. It's something boisterous enough for everyone to care enough to talk about it like we are right now.
It gets views.
Right. So, I mean, of course, it's a little ridiculous. But what it's, I watched that video and he was making a lot of sense. I mean, the thing is, like, you agreed to get paid over $200 million to be available to play basketball. That is the job. And the Brooklyn Nets, I mean, they seem to have endorsed so many other things that Kyrie's, part of Kyrie's strained repertoire, like the whole media thing, not talking to the media. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I'm like, God damn it, God. But fine, if you're going to be Kyrie on the court and KD likes you guys are winning games, fine, we'll deal with it.
Yeah, they were forced.
But you can't just stop playing basketball. Like that's the thing. You've got to do that at a minimum. Result to winning on the court. And if you're not doing that, what are you doing, man? Like why do you think it's okay to still be taking the paycheck is the question.
Exactly. And what makes us think that if Kyrie just decides he's going to come back, there's not going to be another thing that happens 3 weeks later that causes him to do another thing, another odd thing where he just leaves the team. We're less than 15 games into the season, and this is the second major Kyrie Irving story this season. The first one, he just decided he wasn't going to talk to the pawns, and his art should speak for itself or whatever, almost like he didn't sign a multi-million-dollar contract that talking to the media is part of that deal. And then also he just decides, I'm just not going to come to work for the next several days, and then go to a birthday party
and not tell anyone.
Yeah. And I was exactly, you don't even text your coach.
Right.
But Jay Williams, he was talking on his show, and he said, he brought up a good point. He was like, if I'm Kyrie Irving and if I didn't want to be seen at a party, I could just not be seen. There are ways for your face not to get seen by the media at parties. And Jay
when
Williams,
you're on that level of celebrity status, that's something that you should know about. You just constantly live in that world where you're aware of what you want to get out and what you don't want to get out.
Exactly. And like a lot of, like Jay Williams was pretty transparent. He's like, a lot of NBA guys, if they don't want to be seen, they'll make you hand in your phone at the beginning of the party, and then you can go hang out with them. But if they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be seen. And if you see leaked videos of this, that, or the other, I guess aside from the Lou Will thing, I don't think Lou Will wanted to get caught at the strip club. But
right.
aside from that,
he's like, I just want to see some titties, man.
straight up. But Kyrie Irving clearly did not care about being seen. I don't know what the point he was trying to prove was, but the dude didn't really care if he was seen or not. And again, same thing with the James Harden thing several weeks ago, being seen at a party maskless. It's like,
right.
regardless of you're a basketball player, this, that, or the other, whatever title you want to give yourself, millions of people look up to you as an example. And by you not showing the concern for COVID by not wearing a mask, I mean, you're letting down lots and lots of fans. I mean, you're just setting a bad precedent.
Right.
And there's a lot that I have an issue with Kyrie Irving right now.
Yep. It's a great time to not be a Kyrie fan. Just eating this up.
And yeah, aside from our unbiased talks, as a LeBron fan,
right.
I am so happy right now.
Oh, it's great.
LeBron has to be sitting on his high chair in his mansion in LA right now, just laughing at the news.
Right.
Just like, yeah, not my fucking problem anymore. Good luck, KD.
Right.
Not my fucking problem.
Could have told you about this one, KD.
You should have teamed up with me when you had the chance.
Speaking of LeBron, that bit that you sent me.
Oh my god, dude!
I laughed so hard.
I'm 36.
It's like, run it back.
And I love their. I'll link that video in the description of this podcast if you guys want to listen to it, or go watch it. But I loved their take on Kyrie, how he was just sitting there with his hand up, just completely silent, listening to LeBron.
Oh man.
But man, it's going to be interesting to watch what's going to happen. In my opinion, I know we covered this at the beginning. I think the Nets got worse. I think the Rockets got better. The Rockets might end a higher seed than the Nets this season. It's possible.
You think they'll end? You think the Rockets will win more games than the Nets?
I'm saying it's possible. We have to see. I'm saying dependent on if Kyrie Irving comes back and if their personalities can gel. But all I'm saying is the Rockets have a roster full of people that want to prove themselves all over again, and they're hella motivated to fit in their role any way that they can.
Yeah.
Victor Oladipo, DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, they all have suffered injuries in their career, and they're all trying to come back. And
I also think they're all buying into the underdog role. It's like, oh, he didn't want to play with us. Everyone thinks we're a bad team. You know, we're not good enough to go deep. Fuck you. Watch this. I think that's what they're all thinking.
And I think part of it is almost like what happened with the Celtics. Like a lot of those Celtics players, whenever Kyrie Irving left, they bonded after that, and they got better after that, and they can learn from that experience. And aside from those three injury-prone players that are on the Rockets now, like I said, Victor Oladipo, DeMarcus Cousins, and John Wall, they have a solid core aside from that. They have their Christian Wood, PJ Tucker, and they got their picks back from that Chris Paul trade. So they're finally able to reset, and that's why it took so long, because they had to get creative with it.
Yeah. Do you think those picks are going to be worth anything, though? I mean, the first two, probably not, right?
Probably not. But it's just nice to have more options, like more liquid ability.
Yeah, sure. And then who are the pick swaps with?
Let me see if I can find that. It's not giving me that info. Just tell me the pick swaps are 2021, 2023, 2025, and 2027.
It goes deep.
I
highly doubt the
deep.
Nets will be good then.
Definitely not. In fact, the Nets, KD and Kyrie both have free agency in 2 years. Like,
right.
This window is closing officially. They need to win now. And Shaq was on Inside the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought up a good point. He was like, if James Harden doesn't win now, he's gotten every opportunity to win with all the – we've already talked about this, but he's gotten several opportunities to win before. on the Rockets, and the front office has delivered him everything that he's ever wanted. If he doesn't win this year, then James Harden could frankly be a bust. Like, it comes down to that. So all these guys need to win now for their own different reasons, but they have to win this year.
Yeah, and the stuff with Kyrie is so interesting when you put it through that perspective, because last year when he went, I mean, he was injured, so there's that. But when he only played 26 games, there probably was, correct me if I'm wrong, but when the bubble came around, he could have elected to play, right? But he elected to have a surgery instead to recover.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% if that's correct, but I think there's something along those lines. But you couldn't really hold it against him because it's like, okay, well, it's this whole Nets thing is about next year. It's not about this year. KD's out. If Kyrie's your best player, you're not going to, win a title. But if he's your second best player, well, we've seen it happen already. So that was one thing. But then you step into this season, KD is playing his way back into competing for the best player in the league, and for Kyrie not to see that as, again, if there's legit personal reasons, then
all this doesn't matter.
Right. Then that's just life, and that happens, and you've got to step up to whatever is going on in your personal life. But if it's not serious, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like,
well, it's like, regardless of what the reason is, get in front of a camera and answer some questions as to what's going on. I mean, you are the number 2 guy on now the absolute favorite to come out of the East. You owe the team, the organization, your fans, everybody an explanation as to where you are, regardless of whether it's personal reasons or whether it's just because you didn't feel like waking up that morning.
At a minimum, to the people that are signing your checks.
Very minimum. You just call Steve Nash. Like, you have to think about the long-term effects of not calling Steve Nash and going over his head. It's just, you're stuck with this team for the next 2 years at least. You need to make sure that your chemistry is there.
Right.
And he's breaking a lot of barriers and going about a lot of things the wrong way. But that is my take on Kyrie Irving and the Nets. I don't think they're going to come out of the East unless they can figure out a way to either play defense or get their chemistry in line to where they can all share the ball, because there is not enough basketballs to go around as of right now for all the style that these guys are used to playing.
And the thing is, I don't think in terms of the Nets, they don't have a style. They don't have a culture. They don't have a system. It's just KD goes at it for a little while. Then Kyrie goes at it for a little while when he's playing. And then just to keep the looks open, they'll pass the ball every now and then to other players. That's kind of all they do. So then you're going to throw another all-time ISO player in the mix. Like, what is that? I mean, we'll see. I'm excited to see it happen, to be honest. I'm really excited to watch those games of all three playing together.
It's going to be exciting.
Don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to contribute to winning. I mean, if those three guys combined could get you like 75 points a game. Mm-hmm. But if the other team's able to read you well enough to score 120, I don't know if you can win. I don't know. And especially when you're in the playoffs.
Exactly. Like, with that kind of roster, these guys, whenever they're in the playoffs, they can't afford for one of these guys to have an off night. They need to all be at their A game every single game, from game 1 of round 1 all the way to however far they reach.
Right.
But yeah, it's
well, the depth isn't going to matter as much in the playoffs, right? So that's not as much a concern, but the defense is going to be a concern. Defense is going to matter a lot. So we'll see. We will see. Especially
when you're potentially going to be facing a Giannis on the Bucks, who's one of the greatest defenders in the league right now. And
right.
There's a lot of good teams.
They're likely going to meet the Lakers in the finals.
Yeah, and I know some people after this trade, like the Skip Baylesses of the world, but we all expected it, where he said that the Nets are now the absolute favorite to win the title. And he's not the only one. A lot of people have said that. And most of them are LeBron haters.
For sure.
But the Lakers, top to bottom, are still by far the best team in the league. They have the best record. They have officially the number 1 defense in the league. There are a full competitive monster, and the Nets don't even know what they are yet.
Right.
So I guess that's just one of those things we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I will say, so I'm traveling to Austin today with Chrissy to visit him. We're doing stuff for his wedding. So he's actually getting married in April. I'm going to put that out there on the podcast, getting married. So we're getting our suits and all that stuff figured out. So hopefully while I'm there, I'm bringing my whole setup. We can actually record a podcast with Victor in person.
For sure.
So
For sure.
yeah, maybe we can get together and do that. But we wanted to get this out, talk about James Harden, because I don't think if we're trying to start covering the NBA, we couldn't just not talk about this. So,
right.
But yeah, next time Victor should be on, unfortunately. So we will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for listening. I forgot to mention this again. This video version will also be on YouTube as well. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or the audio version, it is on the Jacob Wheeler YouTube channel. So you can watch it on there as well. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you next time.
Later, skaters.
Later.